Good day, students. Hope all of you are fine at your home. Welcome to the zoology class. Today I will start my unit 3rd, that is biology and human welfare, and its first topic is immunity. So, what is immunity? You know that we live in an environment, and the environment has numerous types of bacteria, viruses, fungi, and other organisms which can cause. The body has a natural defense mechanism which is known as immune system that stops the invasion of these disease causing organisms. And the immune system, it's a complex system and it involves various types of cells and tissues which helps us to develop immunity, that is resistance to diseases and infection. So, immunity means the capacity of the body to defend against the diseases by fighting with the disease causing organisms. And the study of immune system is called as immunology. So, what is immunity? Basically, immunity is the capacity of the body to defend against the disease causing organisms by means of fighting with them. So the environment has number of bacteria, viruses, fungi and other organisms which cause diseases in human beings. So our body has a natural defense mechanism against these viruses and bacteria, etc. So we do not get disease always. And this defense mechanism, it is known as immune system. And in our immune system, it stops the invasion of these disease causing organisms in our body. So immunity means the capacity of body to defend against these diseases and or the resistance to diseases and infections. And the study of immune system, it is known as immunology. And this immune system, it is made up of many kinds of cells and tissues which help us to develop immunity in our body. So this is the general idea of the immunity. So immunity is of two types. Number one is innate immunity and number two is acquired immunity. In this presentation, which is the first part of the immunity topic, we will study innate immunity, and in my second presentation we will discuss about the acquired immunity. So first of all, innate immunity. Innate means inborn. Inborn means when a person is born, he or she is born with innate immunity. And innate immunity, it means it is present at the time of the birth and the organism is born with this. So the immunity which is called as innate immunity or the inborn immunity, this is present at the time of the birth. And this immunity guards against the entry of microorganisms in the body, and so it forms the first line of defense. It means this innate immunity which is present at the time of the birth, which is known as the inborn immunity or the innate immunity, this guards against the entry of the virus, bacteria, fungi or any other disease causing organism in our body. So we can say that innate immunity, it forms the first line of defense against diseases. And innate immunity, it is also called as non-specific immunity because these defense mechanisms, they do not distinguish one invader from the other. It means that innate immunity, which is also known as inborn immunity, and it is also called as non-specific immunity. Non-specific means that innate immunity is same for all kinds of microorganisms, all kinds of bacteria, virus or any other disease causing organism, and this immunity does not distinguish between one pathogen and other pathogen. It means all the pathogens, all the disease causing organisms are same for the innate immunity. So we can say that innate immunity is non-specific and it is inborn immunity. And immunity, it aims to provide different types of barriers, like to stop the entry of pathogens into the body, and if pathogen has broken the first barrier and entered the body, then it kills it directly or indirectly. Pathogen means disease causing organism, whether it is bacteria or virus or fungi or any other organism which causes diseases. And this innate immunity, it provides different types of barriers for the disease causing organisms, and it stops the entry of the pathogens in the body. And suppose pathogen or the disease causing organism, it enters the body and it breaks the first barrier, then and it has entered the body, then this innate immunity has a second barrier, then it kills the pathogen or the disease causing organism directly or indirectly. And this is the innate immunity. And what is the purpose of innate immunity? It forms a barrier for the disease causing organisms to enter the body, and if disease causing organism enters the body, then innate immunity, it breaks, if it breaks the first barrier, then innate immunity kills the pathogen directly or indirectly. So innate immunity, it first stops the entry of the pathogens, and if pathogen enters the body, then it kills it directly or the indirectly. So this is the purpose of innate immunity. Now innate immunity, it consists of 4 types of barriers, and they are: number 1, physical or anatomical barrier; number 2, physiological barrier; number 3, cellular barriers; and number 4 is cytokine barrier. So these are the 4 types of barriers which are included in the innate or the inborn or the non-specific immunity which is present at the time of the birth of the human being. So first of all, we will discuss about the physical or the anatomical barrier. So first innate immunity barrier is physical or anatomical, and this type of barrier, it forms the first line of defense, and it guards against the entry of pathogens like bacteria and virus into the body. And what are these physical or anatomical barriers? It is first, number 1 is skin. Skin forms the hard outer layer of body that covers all the external parts and forms an effective barrier for most of the bacteria and the virus. So number 1 physical or anatomical barrier of the human body is skin. You know, skin forms the outer layer of the body and it covers all the external parts of the human body, and it is an effective barrier and it stops the entry of most of the bacteria and viruses. And number 2 physical or anatomical barrier is mucous membrane. The respiratory tract, it is lined with mucous membrane. First, the fine hair filter out under undesired particles in the nostrils, and then mucus, a slimy substance, it traps the bacteria, and then in trachea or bronchi, the movement of cilia sweeps the bacteria towards the throat, from where they are expelled out by means of coughing or sneezing. And moreover, mucus coating of epithelial lining and gastrointestinal lining and urinogenital tract, it also helps in trapping the microbes which enter the body. Suppose some pathogen or the disease causing organism, it enters through the skin, then comes the mucous membrane. And first of all, if there is respiratory tract infection and some bacteria or virus, it enters the respiratory tract. First of all, the fine hair are present in our nostrils, and some pathogens or the disease causing organisms, they are stopped by these fine hair, And moreover, you know that in our nostril and in whole of the respiratory tract there is mucous membrane. And mucus, what is mucus? It is a slimy substance, moist substance which traps the bacteria, and then these bacteria or virus or any other disease causing organism, they do not enter the body. And in trachea are the bronchi. These are also the part of the respiratory tract, and in this the movement of the cilia, they sweep the bacteria towards the throat, and from the throat by means of coughing or sneezing, bacteria, the virus, they come out and they are expelled out. And in urinogenital tract also there is present mucous membrane which removes the microbes which enter the body after crossing the skin. And moreover, gastrointestinal tract also contains the mucous lining which also traps the microbes or the disease causing organisms and removes it. So first two physical or anatomical barriers are, number one is skin and number two is mucous membrane. So next comes the second innate immunity barrier, that is the physiological barrier. Suppose if the first barrier is crossed by the disease causing organisms, suppose some disease causing organisms are pathogens, or you can call antigens, they enter the body through skin or mucous membrane, then there are present physiological barriers. And number one physiological barrier is fever. You know, when there is some infection in our body, we experience fever. What is fever? You must have studied in lower classes that in our blood there are present WBC. WBC means white blood cells, and they are the soldiers of our body, because whenever some disease causing organism enters our body, these WBCs, they fight with them, and if WBC win, and we do not get the disease, and if the disease causing organism it wins, then we get the disease. And many times when there is a fight between the microorganisms and WBC, it results in fever. So whenever we have some infection in our body of any kind, we experience fever. Fever not only inhibits growth of germs, but it also activates defense mechanism, and it is actually beneficial if it is not too high. And the fever is caused by the toxins either released by pathogens or by chemicals called pyrogens released by WBC, and that sets the body's thermostat at a high temperature. It means when there is an infection, we experience fever, and fever is, in one way, it is beneficial for us if it is not too high, because fever stops the growth of the germs, and it also acts our defense mechanism or the immune system, and it is beneficial. And the fever is caused by the toxins, and these toxins either they are released by the disease causing organisms, that is pathogens, or these are the chemicals, they are known as pyrogens, and pyrogens are released by the WBCs. So either by pyrogens released by WBC or by toxins released by pathogens or the disease causing organisms, they cause the temperature of the body at higher rate, so that causes fever. So fever is a physiological barrier, and when there is a fever in our body or our temperature rises, we can say that we have some type of infection in our body. So it activates the immune system to act against or fight against the disease causing organism. And number two physiological barrier, it is acidic pH. So know that stomach has a acidic pH of about 3 to 5. Acidic pH means hydrogen ion concentration, and in stomach there is 3 to 5 pH, and it kills the most of the bacteria swallowed with food. Suppose our body gets some pathogens or disease causing organisms with food, and then when food reaches stomach, and stomach has an acidic pH of 3 to 5 range, and this acidic pH is enough to kill most of the bacteria in the stomach which are swallowed by the food. So these are the first two physiological barriers to fight against the pathogens. Next is the body secretion. This is also the physiological barrier. Body secretions, they contain lysozymes. Many body secretions, a number of body secretions, they contain lysozymes, and for example saliva in our mouth, it contains lysozymes that kill bacteria present in food and drinks. When we take something with food, or we take some drink, the saliva is present in our mouth which contains lysozymes. It is a type of enzyme which kills bacteria. So this is a physiological barrier. And then tears secreted by the tear glands in our eyes, it also contains lysozymes which prevent eye infection. So tears in our eyes, they also contains lysozymes and which are able to prevent our eye infections. And the salt and the fatty acids present in perspiration, they also contain lysozymes which destroy bacterial cell wall. It means that our sweat also contains lysozymes, and these lysozymes, they destroy the bacterial cell wall and they remove it or they kill it. Now third innate immunity barrier is cellular barriers. After crossing the physical or the anatomical barrier and physiological barrier, then comes a turn of the cellular barriers. These include wandering phagocytes or WBC that circulate in the body. They form the second line of defense and work when the first line of defense is broken and bacteria and virus, they have entered our body. And during pathogenic infection, total WBC count or the leukocyte count, it increases sharply. So third innate immunity barrier is the cellular barrier. You know that in our body there are WBCs, white blood cells, and white blood cells, they are also called as the leukocytes. And when our body has broken the first barrier, that is physical or anatomical and the physiological barrier, then what happens that in our body during pathogenic infection or during the infection of any disease causing organism, the total WBC count, the total number of white blood cells in our blood, it increases sharply. Its number increases and they fight with the disease causing organisms. And there are three basic kinds of WBCs which acts on the disease causing organisms in a different way. So we have different types of WBCs which kill the pathogen or the disease causing organism in a different way. Number one type of the WBC is monocytes, that in response to an infection, monocytes are liberated at the site of the infection and they become converted into macrophages, means big eaters which wander actively in the intestinal fluid and eating any bacteria or virus they encounter, and they kill microbes by ingesting them through phagocytosis. It means the monocytes, it is a type of the WBC, and when there is an infection in the body or when there is a infection in the body because of certain disease causing organisms, whether it is bacteria, virus or something else, that then what happens that these monocytes, they are converted into big eaters, they are converted into macrophages, and they wander in the intestinal fluid and they eat the bacteria or the virus and they remove it and they eat bacteria or virus by the process known as the phagocytosis, means they engulf the bacteria or the virus and provide immunity to the body to fight against the diseases. Now next type of the WBC is the neutrophils. this is also a type of WBC, and it is also helpful in providing immunity, innate type of immunity, by ingesting the bacteria or the viruses by the process of phagocytosis, just as in the case of the monocytes. And in addition, they also release certain chemicals that kill other bacteria nearby. So monocytes only eat the bacteria and the virus by the help of the phagocytosis, but neutrophils, they also kill the bacteria and viruses or any other disease causing organism by the means of the phagocytosis. But in addition, they also release certain chemicals that can kill the bacteria in the nearby area. So next type of WBC is natural killer cells. Number 1 was monocyte, number 2 is neutrophil, and number 3 is natural killer cells. This is also a type of the WBC, and lymphocyte, it is a type of WBC, and in lymphocyte there are natural killer cells. They do not attack the invading microbe directly. Instead, they kill cells of the body that have been infected by creating a hole in the plasma membrane of the infected cell, and proteins called perforins are released from natural killer cells, and perforin molecules are inserted into the plasma membrane of the infected cell, forming a pore, and the pore allows the water to rush into the target cell, which then swells and bursts, and the pathogens are killed. So unlike monocytes and neutrophils, natural killer cells, they are also a type of WBC, and they do not attack the microbe directly, but they secrete a protein known as the perforin, and these perforin proteins, they are, when released by the natural killer cells, they are inserted into the plasma membrane of the infected cell. It means they attack the plasma membrane of that cell which is infected by the disease causing organisms, and then these perforins, they make a pore in the plasma membrane of the infected cell, and when there is a pore in the plasma membrane of the infected cell, water surrounding that cell, it rushes into the cell, and then that cell swells, and then cell bursts. And when cell bursts, it means the infecting organism, whether it is bacteria or virus, it is also killed. So this is the way how natural killer cells, or this type of WBC, they kill the pathogen or the disease causing organism. So this is a diagram showing natural killer cell killing a target cell. Suppose this is the natural killer cell, and these natural killer cells, they secrete a protein which is known as perforin. This is perforin protein, this is also perforin protein, and this perforin protein, it breaks the plasma membrane of the infected cell. This is the infected cell. This is that cell which is infected by some disease causing organism, and this natural killer cell are the type of WBC which secrete perforin. This perforin, it breaks the plasma membrane, and then it causes the pore. When there is a pore in the plasma membrane of the infected cell, water from the surrounding area, it enters the infected cell, and then this cell swells and it bursts, and with the cell also dies, and the pathogen or the disease causing organism, that is also killed. So this is the way how natural killer cells, they kill the target cell as well as the pathogen causing the disease. So next, innate immunity barrier, that is number 4. This is cytokine barriers, and these cytokine barriers, they act in a different way. Virus infected cells, they secrete interferons that protect non-infected cells. Interferons are a class of glycoproteins and which are released by the infected cells, and the term interferon, it is based on their property to interfere with the replication of the viruses. And so interferons by themselves, they are not antiviral. but bring about cellular changes in other non-infected cells in the vicinity and make them resistant to virus and prevent the virus to take over their cellular machinery. So what is the role of cytokine barrier in providing the innate immunity against the pathogens? It means that suppose there is a cell which is infected by the virus, then that infected cell, which is infected by the virus, it secretes a glycoprotein which is known as interferon. It is named as interferon because it interferes with the replication of the virus. So it means that these cytokine barriers, it means that the virus infected cells, when they secrete interferons, these interferons themselves do not kill the virus, but they bring about cellular changes in other non-infected cells in the surrounding area, and then the surrounding cells, they become resistant to virus and they do not get infected, and in this way the infection is stopped. So it means, what is the function of interferon? Interferon, it stops further infections in the cells, and interferon, it is secreted by the virus infected cells and it prevents the further infections in the cells which are in the surrounding area. So these are the 4 types of innate immunity barriers. So this is a diagram which shows the action of the interferon. Suppose this is a cell, this is the nucleus of the cell, and this virus, this infects this cell. So when this cell is infected, this cell produces the protein, glycoprotein, which is known as the interferon. And when interferon is produced from this infected cell, this interferon, this acts on the surrounding cells, and these cells, they are non-infected till now, and when interferon comes, it makes these cells resistant to viral attack, and so these cells, they are prevented from getting infection of that virus. So interferons, they make the surrounding cells resistant to viral attack. So these are the 4 types of innate immunity barriers. Number 1 is physical or anatomical barriers. Number 2 is physiological barriers. Number 3 is cytokine barriers, and number 4 is cellular barriers. So these are the 4 types of the barriers which are provided by the innate immunity. So this is all about the innate immunity, and in our next presentation I will discuss about the second type of immunity, that is acquired immunity, which is not present at the time of the birth. So this is all for today's presentation. You have to undergo the revision of this presentation, and if you have any questions about these different types of innate immunity, you can ask me on the WhatsApp group, or you can call me for any queries. Thank you.